So is America going to reject fascism in 2020? Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. The Taliban, well, presumably it was the Taliban. The Taliban actually issued a news release saying it wasn't them. Maybe it was ISIS, but, well, let's say it was ISIS, actually. They would even be more similar. Just murdered 19 people at the Kabul University in Afghanistan. And so I tweeted, well, this is what happens when you put idiots with pickup trucks, assault weapons, and giant flags in charge of your government. And it's remarkable, the number of people who responded to my tweet with photos of ISIS caravans and Trump trains, Trump caravans. They're calling them Trump trains now. I guess that's an attempt to make it voter intimidation sound nice. But I think the bottom line here is that fascism is what's on the ballot. Fascists build walls like they did around East Germany and East Berlin. Donald Trump is building a new unscalable wall around the White House today. They're starting construction, and the Republican Party has spent the past 4 years celebrating a war on our southern border. Fascists divide and imprison people based on ideology and race. Trump and the Republicans have put children in cages after tearing them away from their mothers and built out a private for-profit prison system to hold refugees of color. Fascists don't believe in free and fair elections. And Donald Trump and the Republican Party have spent years fighting to make it harder for Americans to vote and to have their vote counted. In fact, right now down in Texas, they're going before a right-wing judge, honest to God, yes, a infamously right-wing judge, to try and throw out 130,000 votes from people who voted from their cars. Right now, they're launching hundreds of lawsuits and other efforts all across our nation to prevent people from voting or to block votes that have already been cast from being counted. Fascists support the power of very wealthy people and corporations that make them rich. After all, the definition of fascism is the merger of corporate and state interests. Trump and the Republican Party have shoveled over $3 trillion just in the last 4 years to the wealthiest Americans, and they're working every day to gut protective regulations. Fascists use threats and intimidations to get their way politically, and Trump and his Republican allies are openly encouraging this emerging American Taliban to harass Democratic politicians and voters on our roads and highways, in our cities, and at our polling places. Fascists use the power of government to reward their enemies and to reward their friends and punish their enemies. Trump and the Republicans he's put in charge of the Justice Department and DHS. And by the way, Chad Wolf, the head of DHS, is running around the country right now campaigning for Trump. They have openly pursued politically motivated investigations while giving giant corporations a pass and trying to block prosecutions and convictions of Trump's criminal cronies. There's a whole long list of them. Right, Mike Flynn on the list goes. Fascists pervert the justice systems of their nations by packing their courts with right-wing ideologues, something Donald Trump and the Republicans have spent the last 4 years doing, packing our federal court system with often openly unqualified. I mean, American Bar Association, this person is unqualified. Amy Coney Barrett never tried a case in her life. She's on the Supreme Court now. The world is watching as for the past 40 years, and in particular the past 20 years, the Republican Party has been pushing America in an openly fascistic direction. Last week, more than 80 of America's and the world's top scholars and experts on fascism and authoritarianism wrote an open letter to the American public saying, quote, "We have seen all these patterns in our study of the past, and we recognize the signs of a crisis of democracy. We need to turn away from the rule by entrenched elites and return to the rule of law. We must replace the politics of internal enemies with the politics of adversaries in a healthy democratic marketplace of ideas." They warn that, quote, "if we don't, We will indeed face dark days ahead. You know, it's a cliche to point out that back in 1787, as Ben Franklin was walking out of the Constitutional Convention, a woman asked him, "Well, sir, what do we have? What form of government shall we live under?" And he said, "A republic, madam, if you can keep it." He was right. Vote. We got to keep it. Meanwhile, wannabe fascist Donald Trump Jr. is busted, caught on tape, telling his supporters to harass Biden campaign folks in Texas. This is, you know, you've got this Trump train down in Texas that tried to run the Biden-Harris bus off the road. Neither Biden or Harris were in the bus. Wendy Davis was in that bus, you know, the Texas politician, former state senator. Maybe she is again, I'm not sure. But Trump in this video, this is Don Jr., the rising star and apparent cokehead. If you've watched his videos, I mean, those of us who tried cocaine back in the 60s can tell you exactly what's going on with Donald Trump Jr. And he had a substantial substance abuse problem apparently back in the day. But anyhow, he said, "Hey, Laredo, Don Jr. here. I heard you had an awesome turnout for the Trump train. It'd be great if you guys would all get together, head down to McAllen, and give Kamala Harris a nice Trump train welcome. Get out there, have some fun, enjoy it." Right. Yeah, because this is what you do in a democracy. You harass and threaten people. That's how you win elections, right? Well, no, that's how you win elections in Afghanistan. And that's literally what they're doing right now in Afghanistan. I mentioned that RightWing Judge in Harris County. The lawsuit was filed by a very wealthy Republican donor and a Republican congressperson, and the judge is U.S. District Judge Andrew Hanen, H-A-N-E-N, overseeing the case. This piece I have here from Common Dreams is quoting, where is it? Oh, it's from Slate. Slate reporter Mark Joseph Stern. He says, U.S. District Judge Hanen is a rabid partisan. Alarmingly, he scheduled a hearing in this case for Monday morning. It's 10:30 this morning, Texas time, without even giving Harris County a chance to file a response brief. This is the third time the Republican Party has tried to invalidate more than 120,000 ballots. The state Supreme Court turned them down. So now they're going to federal court. Right? They tried it in the state courts, didn't work. Now they're going to the federal courts. They're basically shopping around for a right-wing judge or a Trumpy judge. So, the question, will America embrace or reject fascism in 2020? How do you think this election is going to play out? Do you think it's going to be called by, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on tomorrow night? Do you think it's going to last for days? My sense is that this is going to be a blowout for Biden and Harris, but we'll see. It's 15 minutes past the hour.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Whether it's a blowout is going to depend in large part on whether people actually show up to vote tomorrow in those states where that's their only choice.